Hello, everybody, and happy Friday. I cannot believe it is Friday. This has been the longest week ever. So, welcome to Authority Marketing Live. I'm Melanie Hirschhorn, and I am thrilled because today I have a really fun guest who's going to, I'm sure we're going to hear some really awesome tips. I just know this. So, in case you're joining us for the first time, I am Melanie. I am a book marketing strategist, and I like to say that I help to bridge the gap between publishing and publicity because I help authors craft their online presence. So that really helps you step into thought leadership when people can find you online and it's not just your dinner, pictures of your dinner from last night. So today I am bringing on the amazing Renee Warren, who has written a book, and I'm going to read it. And I have a screen right here, so just bear with me. The book is called, where'd it go? There it is. Get Covered: How to Craft, Pitch, and Tell Your Startup Story to Get More Customers. And that's what we all want, right? More clients, more customers. So, Renee, welcome to Authority Marketing Live.
Hi, thanks for having me, Melanie. This will be fun.
Yay, absolutely. Yes. And I know that it took us a while to get this moment so that we could meet.
It did. And unfortunately, on my way back from a meeting, there was traffic. And I'm like, of course, this is happening right now. But anyways, we're here.
Okay. We're loose. We're good. It's all good. So let's do a quick flash of your book so people can see the incredible cover. Get Covered. There, no pun intended. So how to craft, pitch, and tell your startup story to get more customers. Okay, so why did you write this book? Renee, why did you write this book?
Well, so I used to run a PR agency, and we worked with funded technology startups from South Africa to San Diego. And at the time, so this was in 2012 that I launched the company, we had a really good blog. We had a lot of traffic, a big email list. And I thought, wow, wouldn't it be simple to just strip down our top performing blog posts and connect them somehow and put it into a book? Because we thought, it's really important that this information gets out there because there's no secret to PR as far as I'm concerned. I never went to school for it. We figured it out and we did really well. And I thought it's important for people who especially don't have the time or the resources to hire an agency or publicist to learn how to do it the way that we've done it, that allowed us to get clients on like Steve Harvey's show, top TV, top radio. And so when we started putting together all these blog posts, it didn't make any sense. So this book was actually written probably like 5 times. And we finally scrapped everything and we're like, no, this actually has to come together in a more cohesive structure that follows a framework of which to make this book come to life.
Right.
And yeah, so it took a long time, but we finally did it. And this was, can't even remember when this was published. Let me see here, 2018. And the thing about it is, yes, we worked with startups, but the philosophy and the frameworks in this book applies to any business, any business at all. You can interchange the word startup with restaurant or fashion apparel, whatever it is. So that's kind of the gist of why we wrote this book.
And I love that. And I want to call out the fact that you published it in 2018 and it's still relevant and you're still talking about it. And that is so vital because so often authors are like, oh my God, I published 3 months ago and I've only sold 100 copies and now I just have to let it collect dust on the shelf and call it a day. The end.
Yeah, there's some content, like some books that are, when written well, can survive decades. It just depends on the industry that you're in. So when it comes to like the basics of mindset and motivation and the frameworks of business, yes, that stuff can last a long time. And I was worried when we started writing this book, because I have a co-author with Crystal.
Mm-hmm.
I was worried it wasn't going to be relevant. But, things in the PR world have shifted a little bit, but the essence is there. And all of the ways in which we pitch the media, from like what a pitch looks like to everything that you need to have set up in your business in order for this to be successful, it's all in this book.
I love that so much. So I'm just going to Do we have, is it on Amazon? Is it available on your website? Is it, okay.
Yeah, so Amazon.ca or .com, depending on where you're dialing in from, you can buy it on Amazon's the best way to do it. Yeah,
Okay.
we went through Amazon self-publishing platform, which is also an experience. But we could have done like the publisher route. We just wanted to own every single word in the book, and we did. And it's been great. It's a fun little journey, and I've done it. Now I can say that I'm a published author.
Yes, and that's a big deal because not only are you a subject matter expert on PR, on marketing, but you wrote the book on it, and that makes a difference. That makes a big difference. I'll tell
you, there are even days when I go like, how do I do this again? I go back to my book. I'm like, oh yes, okay, that is the structure. Now I do this.
Love that. I love that. It's awesome. And I, I worked in PR 20 years ago, and yeah, we just had email. We didn't have social media really. It was like Tom from MySpace, but the fundamentals are there. It's still about relationships. It's 100%. Still about being kind to humans and following through. And when I say that I bridge the gap between publishing and publicity, it's because so often authors jump from one to the other and they don't realize the need for the online presence in the middle of that. So yeah, I'd love to know, like, tell me about like how your book helps with your business. So tell us about your business and how that book helps.
Well, I've had a little, I guess, I don't want to say step away from the PR space. I still do PR. Funny enough, ironically enough, is right now I'm helping my husband with PR for his book that comes out in January. Wonderful. He's a published author through Penguin. And for me, it's like I get to choose who I work with now. And I love that. Like there's some companies that I'm an investor in that I was like, hey, let me do your PR. And the philosophies still apply. Like I even go back to like the templates and the stuff that I've put together for this book, and I still use those today. It's still hyper relevant. So like we said, like the foundation is there, and like there's some little things that have shifted, but for the most part, you're right when you say it's about relations. Like public relationships is about building relationships. It's not about like, here's the thing I want you to talk about, so please answer my email and do what I say. It's like, it's a back and forth. It's like you give, I give, I take, you take relationship. Like just as much as the media needs a good story to cover, like you need them too. And so it's a reciprocal relationship. And I think about it with anything, with your partner, as a parent, with your best friends. It's like, you can't just be the one that's taking or the one that's giving, right? For it to be healthy, everyone has to deposit. So we teach that in this book about creating those relationships, maintaining those relationships. And the reality is like journalists and publicists, they move around a lot. And so while you think you have connections at certain publications, yes, but then your anchor person could move to like, Wired magazine to Inc. magazine, or one radio station to the next. And so the methods and how you build those relationships and maintain them is the most important thing, regardless of where your contact is at a certain publication.
No, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's such an important point. I think people don't realize that. Yes, the barrier to entry is a little bit better now because you can find anybody's email address, but you can't just rely on having a past relationship with somebody, because you're right. I mean, I used to work in the news and I don't anymore. So whoever's in my spot, they're getting emails from somebody who might think that I am there, but I'm not. And that's an important point.
Well, and it's important because for your perspective, you must have gotten pitched a lot. Now I host a podcast. And so I see both sides of me pitching podcasts and receiving pitches. So I go back, and all the good pitches I've ever received, I save them in a folder. So if I need inspiration, I go back and I was like, maybe the guest wasn't the right fit for my show, but I'll always reply to the person that pitched that person. You did a great job. This was phenomenal. Congratulations. And I get inspired by that. And sometimes I craft like the best emails and the best pitches. And then I follow up and I don't hear back from them. Actually, one today, I was like, oh, I didn't hear back from this person, and I know this is a perfect fit,
Right.
So I just sent them a quick voice note in Instagram. And I was like, hey, I sent you an email and it wouldn't normally be this aggressive in other words, but I really do think this is a perfect guest for your show. And here's why. I didn't want my email to get lost in the shuffle. It's from Renee Warren if you want to check it out. And he got back to me. It's like, it's about like, I wasn't and it was personalized one-to-one, never mass emailing. So it takes a long time, right? It takes a long time to pitch because you have to make sure, is this the right person? Understanding, is it the right contact? Am I spelling their name right? What are they doing? Are they on vacation this week? Oh my gosh, they were just in Croatia. Maybe you can ask them about Croatia because these are humans and they have feelings and they don't just want to be a number on your media list of people being pitched. And so again, it comes down to creating those relationships.
I knew you would be dropping tips left and right. These are so important because you're right. These are not just numbers on your media list. It's not like you get to check off, the line 20. These are humans who have feelings too. And, there have been, just like you said, you've been on both sides. I feel like I've been on like a 360-degree rotation because I've done the PR, I've done the journalism, I do marketing now. I had a podcast where I got pitched regularly. And one of the biggest mistakes is that people don't pay attention to what they're pitching to. It's like that spraying mentality, like, I'll just, it's a numbers game, whatever.
Just. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And yet, I had a podcast for women. That was about women, for women, no male guests. And I would regularly get people pitching me about male guests.
Me too. And I'm like, oh, it just takes 2 seconds to look at my guests. Like, go to podcast, iTunes podcast, because I always put the title of the show and I'll put with their name. And I go, pretty sure all of these are female names. Jessica, Sarah, Tatiana. And the only male I've ever interviewed was my husband.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. Yeah.
Very important because people want to like get clues into like, are the dynamics of our relationship? But all this to say is do your research because you don't want to look like an idiot. And here's what happens. If you're really kind about the way you approach these people that you pitch, if for whatever reason they do get back to you, which is not most of the time, and you're genuine, they'll be like, you know what, this isn't a good fit, but here's somebody else who I think you should meet. Or, this isn't a good fit now, but maybe in the next quarter, we're doing something that might be a good fit. Mm-hmm. If you're kind about the approach, they'll give you the time of day. And that's important. You want that respect, right?
Absolutely. I took these courses on PR after I graduated from university because I was like, I just want to learn how to do it. And, when you've been in school for so long, you kind of feel like you have to keep going because you can't learn anything on your own. And one of the things that my instructor taught me, and he had been working in the entertainment industry and PR for 30 years at this point. Mm-hmm. He said, one of the things that you should always do, and this was back in the day when you had to phone people, phones are
weird.
Yeah, no. It was weird. It was
journalists hate that. Don't ever call them.
Right. But what he said was when you call them, the first thing out of your mouth should be, are you on deadline?
Oh.
And I mean, now this doesn't necessarily apply, but it kind of does. So I would always call and I would say, are you on deadline? And if they said yes, I would say, thank you. I'll call you again later. Hang up. Right. And they appreciated that because as somebody who knows what it's like to be on deadline, you don't have the newspaper's not going to wait for you to finish your story. And the radio station is not going to just show, you can just turn your mic on whenever you feel like it. It doesn't work like that. So I feel like exactly what you're saying is so true that if you go that extra mile, it's not even a mile, it's like an inch. You go that extra inch, you're going to get so much more out of it.
Well, let's just say it's a mile.
Okay.
Because sometimes it feels like a mile. Sometimes it feels like a mile because you can't find their contact information, but they're the right person, and then you have to craft this pitch. But it also goes with the saying that the last mile's never crowded. Because most people don't go that last mile. It hurts, it's uncomfortable, it seems like it's too time consuming, it's not worth it. Well, the people that are in that last mile are the ones that are actually succeeding because they're pushing, pushing, pushing.
Love that. Okay, so now let's go to this incredibly long link that
Just wewildwomen.com. No, .lpages.co. Wow, I could have done a bit.ly of that. I apologize.
No, it's okay. Unfortunately, people can't just select it. So, is there a way to pull it off your website too if they go to wewildwomen.com?
If they go to wewildwomen.com,
yes,
and make sure it's women, there's a freebies section. Exactly. And in the freebies section, there's the do-it-yourself media kit, and a little explanation on why that's important. There's some other stuff in there too that's fun, but that will get you started.
Okay, wonderful. I was like, I know what the lead pages links look like because I always have to add something else to them. But that's great. And you guys, I downloaded it already and I can't wait to dive in because I'm very excited. It is clear that Renee is a big time expert in this. So tell me, do you have another book in you? Do you have any desire to write another?
Well, actually, there's a pink book in the background that I just launched a couple months ago. It's called the Morning Practice Planner. It's not an actual book, it's a planner. But it's different in that the first part of the book actually explains to the reader or the doer of the planning different methods in which to be more productive. So I teach how to make better decisions from a head, heart, and gut approach, how to create mission statements, vision statements, how to create what I call the repeatable morning actions. So what are the things you need to do every single day so that if you do those things, you will be successful. And then you get into your daily pages. Mm-hmm. And this was kind of a process of mine when I started doing this for myself. It's like, oh, maybe I'll just make this kind of pretty. And then it evolved into actually printing a thing.
So cool.
Manufacturing it myself, but it's pretty cool. It's not a book. However, it might be a great compliment to get covered.
Absolutely. Because you have to sort of plan out your day in an effective way in order to pitch media.
100%.
Get your message out there.
And I will say this. We tend to do and add more to our to-do list in a day than we should. And we add the little piddly tasks in which we do first because we get these dopamine hits by way of crossing things off. But have you ever heard the saying, if you need to eat your frog in the morning? So you ever heard that quote, right? If it's your job to eat a frog in the morning, better do it first thing. And if your job to eat 2 frogs, and eat the biggest one first. Because who wants to eat a frog? But if you get it done, you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the day. And so in this book, I teach people in the planner, I teach people how to make better decisions so that they learn what they're actually putting on their to-do list is making sense. It's move the needle tasks.
I love those. I was trying to do one earlier before we got on this, and then I just got totally sidetracked. But I blame Friday for it.
It is Friday. And it's a holiday here for us too, so my kids are home, which makes it much harder.
Yeah, kids being home always just adds to the fun and the hilarity. So my next question is, where can people purchase this planner from?
Oh, wewildwomen.com. Same thing.
All right.
Okay. Planners.
All right. Wonderful.
Everything's there. The keys to the universe also there.
Yay. Okay. So you'll find the books, the strategies, and the keys to the universe all right here. So Renee, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. I'm so glad we got to coordinate this finally.
I know. Thank you so much. And thanks for your patience too. But this has been a great chat. I really appreciate you having me.
Thank you. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. You can go to wewildwomen.com and grab all those amazing goodies and the books too. And I want to remind you that the Amplify Your Authority program is now open. If you are ready to do your marketing for your book, you're finally going to step into that and you want an on-demand, go at your own pace program, then that is what Amplify Your Authority can do for you. Here is the link for that. It is just vipdigital.live/amplify. And I would absolutely love to see you on the inside. So thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.